Welcome. In this presentation, we are going to go over what COVID-19 school safety looks like at BMS so that you can keep yourself and others around you safe. The content for this presentation, along with our school's COVID-19 preparedness plan, follows the guidance from the following centers, as we are committed to providing a safe and healthy workplace and learning environment for all staff and students. Social distancing is important as we're inside our school. This means staying 6 feet apart at all times, avoid sharing electronic devices, books, fidgets, and other learning devices whenever possible, and ensure cleaning between each use. Students will keep items to themselves. Think of this as having a bike between you and another person. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, and face coverings are required. Students and staff are required to wear store-bought or homemade face coverings during the school day. Staff and students are to keep, maintain, and wear their face covering whenever they are on district property. All staff and students are required to comply with this unless they have a health condition that may prohibit them from wearing a mask. Everyone in school buildings and riding on school transportation is required to wear a face covering. They are also meant to protect other people in case the wearer does not know they are infected. Here are some pictures of what your mask should look like. Your face covering should cover your entire nose and mouth completely. Here are step-by-step directions as to how to safely wear your mask. Go ahead and pause the video and read through so you know how to keep yourself and your mask clean and safe. Approved face coverings. Here is a list of allowable face coverings. They include paper or disposable masks, cloth face mask, scarf, bandana, neck gaiter, religious face covering, medical grade mask and respirators. Take a look and make sure you have one of these items to wear every day at school. There are a few types of face coverings that are not allowed. Any mask that incorporates a valve designed to facilitate easy exhaling, mesh masks, or masks with openings, holes, visible gaps in the design or material, or vents are not sufficient face coverings because they allow exhale droplets to be released into the air. Hand washing and sanitation is extremely important. Make sure to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap and water. Do this at the beginning of the day, end of the day, before eating, after using the restroom, or before putting on your face covering. If you do not have access to a restroom for soap and water, use hand sanitizer. There are dispensers around the school and at school entrances for your use. Use these when your hands are not visibly dirty. Look for the posters around the school for step-by-step directions on how to wash your hands. Wearing a face covering does not mean you do not have to wash your hands. And remember, cover your mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing, and avoid touching your face, particularly your mouth, nose, and eyes with your hands. In addition, cleaning and sanitation will be done around the school. Each classroom will have a red cleaning bin for teachers to sanitize high-touch surfaces. Students are not allowed to use the cleaning supplies. As mentioned, there will be sanitizing stations around the building. This is what they look like. They will be placed at entrances to the building, in the cafeteria, on each floor, and other places around the building. There will be times throughout the day when you will be allowed to remove your face covering. Your face covering can be removed when engaging in an indoor physical activity such as in the gym or the fitness center, during after-school sports, during activities held outdoors, participating in any water activities such as if you're in the pool, or when you're outdoors and standing or engaging more than 6 feet apart from others. A good rule of thumb is when you're not wearing your mask, stay 6 feet apart. This also goes when we are wearing our masks as well to make sure that we all stay safe. While indoors in the hybrid model, we have to limit the number of people allowed in each classroom. We need to do this so that we stay 6 feet apart from others. Desks and furniture will be arranged to maximize the space between the students and not have students facing each other. While in the classroom, you will be allowed to carry a backpack because lockers will not be assigned at the start of the year. Limit your backpack to the essentials as you will have to carry it around all day. This may include pencils, notebooks, folders, your Chromebook, and other essential items. Look to your teachers for more information as to what you may need. A clear water bottle is also something you may want to have, and I will talk about that later. You will keep your backpack on the back of your chair or desk and not share your items with others. You can also see the school website for a current school supply list. Music class is another area where you can remove your face covering in certain instances. During indoor practices or performances involving singing or playing musical instruments where a face covering cannot be used while playing the instrument is an example of when you could remove it. Performers should maintain 6 feet or greater, which is 12 feet for band and choir, of physical distance between themselves and others, and students should replace their face covering as soon as the activity is completed. Your music teacher will instruct you when or if your mask can be removed. So look at the pictures here to see which types of instruments you may have to remove your face covering and which types of instruments you are not allowed to remove your face covering. Our hallways at Brooklyn Middle School look like roads, where you walk on the right. Follow the traffic patterns in the hallways. Also, use the up and down stairways appropriately and follow the floor arrows to guide you which direction to walk. In addition, our water fountains have been partially shut off. COVID-19 spreads mainly through close contact from person to person through respiratory droplets. For this reason, our water fountains will be shut off, but the bottle filler will stay on. So bring a clear plastic water bottle to fill throughout your day. When you arrive at school on your designated days, you have the option to eat breakfast. You will enter the building through door A or C. You will scan your student ID that came on your lanyard when you picked up your Chromebooks. If you did not pick up your Chromebook on the first day of school, you will just have to tell the cashier your last name in order to scan for your breakfast. You will then grab your grab-and-go breakfast and head to your advisory to eat. Make sure you wait until you get to your advisory to eat, as there is no eating or drinking in our hallways. Remember to clean up after yourself after you're done eating. I have also included the prices for breakfast and lunch. There are a few changes that are happening in our cafeteria as well. The cafeteria will have 50% capacity using tables and chairs. Students are required to wash their hands or use hand sanitizer before entering the food service line. There are designated spots to sit where a sticker says, "Sit here." There are no exceptions to this. Face coverings may be temporarily removed to eat or drink, but must be put right back on if not eating or drinking. So a few changes. There will be no self-serving food items or lines, meaning you can't take food yourself. Some items will be prepackaged and some will be served to you. The only thing you will be taking is your own milk at the start of the line. There will be no sharing of food items allowed. And then when you're finished, you will have to push your chair in at the end of the lunch hour when you leave the cafeteria. Some things that are not changing is you will dump your tray in the nearest trash can to you and clean up after yourself. You will pick one spot and stay there the entire lunch. No moving, switching seats, or wandering around the cafeteria. And use level 1 or 2 indoor voices. So the process for the cafeteria will be: you enter the cafeteria, sanitize your hands, and find a seat as a designated spot as shown in the photo. An adult will dismiss one row at a time to get in line for food. You will then wait in line 6 feet apart on the floor markings. You will take your tray to your seat and eat. That's the time where you can remove your mask. Then you will return your mask, dump your tray into the nearest trash, and sanitize your hands. Clean up after yourself, including your table, chair, and surrounding area. You will be required to stay at your seat for the remainder of lunch. And note, there will be 2 lunch lines. They will be serving the same food items, so it does not matter which line you enter. This is a map of our cafeteria, so you can see where you enter the cafeteria, where you get in line, and where you exit your line. Line 1 and 2 are designated in purple, and line 3 is designated in red. All of the rectangles that are gray resemble a table for one student to sit at. Remember, each student will get their own table in the cafeteria. A couple other things are changing this year. Due to COVID-19, visitors, volunteers, and activities involving any outside group or organization are restricted, meaning they're not allowed. This means there will also not be field trips. This is to help reduce the number of people within the school that could potentially spread the virus. People who are entering the school building during the day may be required by school staff to briefly remove their face covering for the purposes of checking identification. This may include if a parent is coming to pick you up or if you come late to school. Health screenings. Our main office staff will conduct a verbal symptom screening of anyone entering the building during the school day. If someone does not pass the symptom screening, they will be sent to the site's designated isolation room. Staff and students need to screen for symptoms prior to coming to school each day, but students will also complete an online health screening and do a visual check in morning advisory. If experiencing COVID symptoms, receiving a positive COVID test, or if you have close exposure with someone with COVID, staff and families need to report these to the building's attendance line. Staff and students are to self-monitor symptoms throughout the day. If you develop symptoms during the school day, you must notify the nurse immediately. If you are sick, you should go home or to a healthcare facility depending on how severe your symptoms are. If you can't leave school immediately, students and staff will be moved to a designated isolation room. Here are some symptoms of COVID-19. Our last piece of information is on transportation. This includes any school transportation, bus, van, or other vehicle. Masks are required at all times while riding the bus. There is also no eating or drinking on the bus, so your mask should not need to come off. You must sit in a designated space that has a green circle. You can also see this in the school safety bus video. Bus drivers will refer students to administration if they are not wearing a mask or if they are not following the bus safety expectations. At the end of the school day, there will be 3 different types of ways you can leave the school. If you are a walker, you are not allowed to take off your mask until you are off school property and 6 feet away from other students. If you get picked up, you are not allowed to take off your mask until you are in your vehicle on your way home. And if you take a school bus or a van, you are to wear your mask while walking to get onto your bus and keep it on until you have exited the bus at your bus stop. This means in all of these situations, you are to keep your mask on even though you're outside until you're off school property. A couple of final reminders. Look for these signs around the school. Checking for your own symptoms, looking to see what type of face covering are required, social distancing visual aids, including the floor markings and the building traffic flow maps so you know which way to walk, reminders on how to wash your hands, cover a cough, and how to wear a mask, and then any classroom that is closed or has a do not enter sign you should not enter as it may be closed for cleaning. And then use the appropriate drinking fountains. There will be signs on drinking fountains that are not in use. Make sure to help slow the spread of the coronavirus by wearing your mask, washing your hands, and staying 6 feet apart. Let's stay safe, BMS.